Time to grout. The final step. Now, I'm just putting this tape up here just so I don't get my grout all over my wall. And you know, you don't have to, but you can be a little bit more aggressive with your grouting, you know, if you got a little bit of protection. Try not to stick it, you know, to the wall, because I got, you know, paint's kind of fresh and you don't want to pull the paint off. And I'm not going to worry about the countertop. Cleans up fairly quick and easy. Now, I'm using a, this is a Mappy Ultra Color Plus. It's a lightly sanded grout. Now, typically I like to use a grout that has, you know, no aggregate in it at all. But this is what I chose for the shower, and it's going to work just fine and dandy. So, a little silicone on the counter. This is what I've chosen. This one happens to be a silver. You can go with whatever color you want, you know, and I find that the unsanded ones for, you know, this kind of tile might be a little easier to use. But, you know, it's up to you. You got to go through the color chart. You got to make sure that it's the right color that you want. And I got some in there. You're going to have to kind of gauge about how much you're going to need. I don't want to make too much. Now normally I've got a little paint mixer that I put on my drill and I mix this, but it's at a job site. So I'm just going to use a stir stick. But you got to stir it really, really well. Don't get too much water in there. Stir it really, really well because you don't want any lumps. And one of the things I never do is I use the end of the bag, because if you get it too wet, then you got nothing to go and thicken it up a little bit. So I always kind of make sure that I've got a little left over. That's just kind of being smart. Now, how thick do you like your grout? I like mine thin enough that I don't have to, you know, work really hard, but I don't want it thick and chunky. So just like a nice paste. Kind of go with like a toothbrush or toothpaste. All right, I'm going to mix this for a little bit. Now read your instructions on your grout. This one here, after you've mixed it for 4 to 5 minutes, you want to start using it immediately. Some of them, they want you to let it sit for about 10 minutes. That way it just kind of, I don't know, all the ingredients start to work together. And I'm ready to go. So I've just got my little grout float here. I've got a larger one that I use for bigger stuff, but you don't want to go too big. Kind of gets in the way. I'll put that right over here. And it's pretty simple. You just work it in. Now, these little grooves are the toughest. So you want to go one way and then you go the next. Like a bit of a 45. And if you have to, work it in with your finger. These ones are easy. You want to make sure you go both ways though. And your grout's not going to hurt your tile. And it's not going to hurt the your trim. It's a pretty tough anodized extrusion. And another thing, don't ever throw your grout out. You ever get some grout that you know, cracks out or something like that on you? You've always got some to fill it back in with. Hopefully I got enough. Should be okay. Can always mix more. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this. You can watch. I'll make sure I got you going. Oh yeah, here we're going. So now we're just going to take a damp sponge here, just using some warm water because cold water sucks. Now, with this type of grout, you don't want to go more than 10 minutes. And then basically, whoops, sorry. I just go on a kind of a circular motion. And basically what you're trying to do is just feather out your grout so that it's nice and even in the grout line. And always have a little extra if there's a little air pocket or something like that. This stuff sets up pretty quick. Now you don't want to be overly aggressive here. You just want to use your sponge to manipulate it and make it look good. Still got a spot over here. Be right back. Where am I? Right here. I'll come back to him later. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of residual on your sponge, and if you got a low spot you can fill it in a little bit. But it's pretty self-explanatory. But you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but you know, I'm pretty good here, but I'm still a little thick up here. You just got to look at your lines. Just keep working it until it's exactly where you want it. Just gotta take your time. Now if you're doing a big job, you give it a quick one like this, you move on. You don't want to continue until this is perfectly clean. You still got lots of your other job to do, so this is good enough. And then you would come back, work on this again, make sure that your lines are good. You still got some time. You know, it's not set up in stone right now, so you know, we're going to let this sit for about 5 or 10 more minutes, probably 5, and then I'm going to go over it again. Just going to use that to scrape away any that's, you know, kind of on the counter there. Helps it out a little bit. I don't really want to do the gap there, the crack on the bottom. We're going to be siliconing that. Alright, back to it. So I'm going to go nice and easy on each one and make sure it's right. You just kind of watch, and when your grout line looks nice and straight up and down, usually you got it pretty good. Of course, bigger areas are way easier to do. But I always tell everyone, grouting is one of the toughest jobs. Not so bad when you're doing a little job like this, but when you're doing a big floor, man, you got to press that grout in and sweat just pours off you. It's a very unfun job. Some people might find it zen, I don't. Okay, we're looking pretty good here. Pretty happy with that. I've got some stuff that seeps through, but it'll be alright. As long as no paint comes off the wall, I don't care. And if you get some on the wall, that's not a big deal. It does come off. So I usually take a washcloth after about another 5 minutes, and this is where you get your last chance to make everything right. You know, if there's a little wide spot at the bottom, there's a little piece down here. Washcloth will take it off. Mostly just to get the glaze off. Just really lightly. You do this as many times as you need just to make everything pretty. Just going to rinse it off. Now on the final one, you can do really light with your towel, because we don't want to affect the grout. And then you can just dry it off with a piece of paper towel. Try and avoid the grout lines. And this job is done. If you got a little glaze on there next day or in a couple of hours or an hour, you can just wipe it off with a dry paper towel. We'll let this sit overnight. You want it completely dry, and then we're going to silicone. Last step in the process. We're just going to silicone these edges. Now you got to make sure that everything's nice and clean, because you don't want to get any cooties in your silicone. So I'm using, I really like, you got to make sure you use 100% silicone. And I'm using a Dow silicone, and quite like it a lot. This one is just going to be white. Now this scares a lot of people. I got a little bowl here. I got a little bit of water and just a dab of soap in there. Now when you silicone, what you want to do is just use a little tiny bit. Don't put a whole big jag in there and then expect it to be beautiful. It's not going to be. And then all I do is go on about a 45 and just put a thin bead in there, and I go nice and slow. Where there's a bit of a gap, you go a little slower so it fills it a little bit. Just like that. And then just a light touch. Don't put too much pressure on there, but you still want to just spread it out. It's nice if you can go both ways, but it's hard to do in a situation like this. Have some paper towels. Got a couple of gaps here, but what we'll do is just go the other way here now. That's really nice. Corner's kind of the toughest. Use my other finger here. It's a little better. Got some sort of a, oh no, it's all right. There we go. Smooth this guy out just a little more there. Now, if you don't think you got enough on there, don't try and do it right away. Let it set up and then come back and put a second coat on. You'll be way happier. This project is done. Really happy with it. Now I can hang the mirror and get finished with this bathroom. So, and it looks good. And I've kept it simple. Nothing extravagant here. But this is just something anybody can do. So give it a try. Thanks for watching.